Hello all, this is Liji and today we will see loops in Python. Suppose we have a set of 5 instructions, say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and want to repeat this instruction 2, 3, 4, say 5 times. How can we do that? One way out is we can repeat those 3 instructions 2, 3, 4 for 5 times. But what if we want to repeat those instructions say 100 times? Will it be possible to do that manually to keep on repeating those instructions again and again? And what if some changes we need to do in one of the statement? Then we'll have to replicate the changes in all the repeated statements also, right? So loops is a Python structure that can be used to execute a group of instructions or a block of code multiple times without writing it repeatedly. Basically, loop is a programming structure that is available with all programming languages. It helps us to repeat a group of statements or block of statements without writing it repeatedly. It will be executing based on some conditions. Until the time the condition is true, it will keep on repeating those statements. One such kind of loop is a while loop. So now let us take the example of how we can print numbers from 1 to 5. So if we want to print numbers from 1 to 5, what we can do is we can write print 1, print 2, print 3, print 4, print 5 like that. Right? So it is printing 1 to 5. Now, what if we want to print from 1 to 10 or say 100? Then we cannot just go on writing it again and again, right? So, instead of that, we'll be using a while loop. Okay, so I'll just explain this code out here. What we are doing is, as you are aware, here we are assigning variable num the value 0. After that, there is a statement while num less than or equal to 5. So here, while keyword indicates a loop. So what it will do is, it will check if this num variable is less than or equal to I. Based on this condition, okay, whatever condition we have given here, till the time this condition is true, till the time this condition is returning true, these sets of code will be executed. So here num equal to 0 while num less than or equal to 8. So till the time num less than or equal to 5, it will execute this statement. So it will print num first. Then what it is doing? It is incrementing num by 1. So initially num was 0. Then we are incrementing num by 1. Now num becomes 1. Then from here the control again goes to the while statement. It will again check if num is less than or equal to 5. Since num is 1 now, it is yes, obviously less than 5. So it will print 1. Then here when it comes here, it becomes 2. It will again go back here. It will check if it is less than. Yes, it is less than. It returns true. So it will print 2. Then it will increment it to 3. Again check. Yes, it will print 3, then it will increment it to 4. Again check, it is less than 5, uh, then it will print 4 and now it becomes 5. Now it is checking num less than or equal to 5. Yes, 5 is less than or equal to 5. Yes, 5 is equal to 5, right? So again this statement is true. It will print 5. Now what is the value of num? Num is 6. Now it comes here. When it comes here, it checks the condition num less than or equal to 5. Since num is 6 now, it won't be able to print that. Since now num is 6 now, it becomes false. This condition false, and so it won't go inside this loop. It won't execute the blocks associated with it, and it will come out of the loop. That is, it will come to this statement and it will printed all numbers. Okay, let us just execute this and see. See, it printed 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, and then finally the last statement after. So this if till the time it was printing 0 1 2 3 5, it was executing these set of statements. That is, these set of statements were getting executed repeatedly. Once it is over, it came out of the loop and it printed all numbers. Okay, now since we had to print from 1 to 5 as per the question over here. Since I gave 0 over here, it started from 0. Let me make it 1. So now it printed from 1 to 5. Now suppose you want to print from 100. What is the only change that we have to do? We have to change this 5 to 100 over here. Right? That is, here now we are checking whether num is less than or equal to 100. Till that time, it will increment the variable num and it will go on printing. Let us see. See? Hardly it took 1 second. I would not have taken even 1 second to change from 5 to 100 and it printed all 100 numbers. Right? Now suppose if I wanted to print, I want to print 1000. See? It's done. It's done. So what if you are doing it this way? Will it be possible to do repeat the statements print 1, print 2, print 100 till 100 or till 1000? No, right? So that is how this while loop works. And if you see the syntax wise, I'll just make it 5 again. Yeah. If you see it syntax wise, it is almost similar to if structure that we saw in the last class. Only thing is that instead of if, while comes, and when while comes, this set of statements are executed till the time this condition given over here is true. That is how while loop works. Now suppose if you want to print from 10 to 1. Here we have seen we are printing from 1 to 5. Okay, that we are incrementing the numbers. Okay, now suppose you want to print from 10 to 1. Okay, so what is the change? You start from 10. What will be the condition? Num greater than or equal to 0, because we have to print from 10 to 1, right? So I'll make it 1 over here. So till the time num is greater than or equal to 1. So that is a condition that will be true in that case, right? So we gave those condition over here, print num, and then we are decrementing num because we start with 10, then the next number should be 9, then it should be 8, like that. Let us see how it works. See, it printed 10 to 1. Okay, so if it was 100, only changes we give 100 over here because we start from 100 and the last number will be 1, right? So give 100 over here and say it printed from 100 to 1. Okay, so that is how while loop works. So in case of a while loop, the okay, let me make this 5. Yes. So in case of a while loop, there will always be an initialization statement. Okay, so where we initialize a variable, okay, which is used to check for checking the condition. So we initialize it, then there will be a statement where we check the condition of it. Okay, means whether there will be a condition checking statement, and then there will be an updation. Okay, so this is the structure of while loop. So whenever you write while loop, you will be initializing a variable, then there is a condition checking, and inside the loop there will be an updation happening for the variable. I'll just explain why we need this updation and why it is important. Okay, so here as you have seen, we are printing the numbers from 1 to 5, right? Now suppose, so here we are initializing 1, num less than or equal to 5, and num plus. Okay, now suppose we want to print from num 1 to 10, 1 to 10. So what we do, we'll make 2 here. But we don't want to print all the numbers. We want to print it in steps of 2. Okay, that is after 1, we have to print 3. Then what we'll do, we'll just make this 2. Okay, so that is, we initialize num with 1, num less than or equal to 10. That's a condition same. We print the numbers, then after 1, what we need? 3, right? Because we don't need increment, we want to increment it by 1, we want to increment it by 2. We just gave 2 over here. It's that easy. See, 1 3 5 7 9. Okay, now suppose this increment thing was not here. Okay, this increment thing was not here. Okay, then what happens? See, it's going on printing one, going on printing one, going on printing one. It's never ending. See, it has become an infinite loop. Now let me just break that. Okay. Okay. Why? Because initially we initialize num to 1. While num less than or equal to 10, okay, it printed 1. But there is no other statement over here in while now, right? So it again goes here, it checks again, value of num is 1, 1 is less than or equal to 10, it prints 1 again, num is 1, it prints that. So num is not getting updated. So because of that, the condition here always will remain the same. There is no change happening in the condition expression, and because of that it remains true always. So unless and until we update the variables, we won't be able to end the while, otherwise it will become an infinite while loop. Okay, so now it prints from 1 to 10. Now this is just another example to show how while work. Suppose you want to print the multiplication table. So how does a multiplication table look like? So if it is 4, it is 4 into 1, 4 into 2, 4 into 3, 4 into 4, like that, right? So up to 10. Okay, suppose. So what I'm doing is I'm asking for the number. I'll just execute and show first. Okay, it is somewhere over here. Yes, I'll just execute and show this. Okay, which, okay, let me print the multiplication table of 6. So this is how the multiplication table looks like. 6 one time, 6 two times, 6 three times, like that. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm entering the number, then I am initializing, because since the number we have entered, but this number has to be multiplied from with a number starting with 1 until 10, right? So this part is going on incrementing. So how we can stimulate that? We'll use a loop over there. Okay, so that is what this I is doing. With what number this number that we entered is multiplied, okay, that is being taken care of this by this I. So we initialize I to 1. Then while I less than or equal to 10, what we are doing, print this is f string. So num into I. So it is this part. It is printing the initial left hand side. Okay. So it's printing variable num, then printing variable I, then equal to num into I. So here we are getting the result. So that is what is happening over here. It prints it in the format that we want. Then we are incrementing I equal to I plus 1. So initially I was 1, then I becomes 2, then 3, then up till 10, because we have here given less than. Suppose if it is 100 and we are entering 8. See, in a second we got the multiplication table of 8 till 100. It is all because of loop which has made it happen. Okay, because it is helping us to repeat the statement repeat the statements n number of times, whatever, how much ever times we want, it helps us to repeat the statements. Okay, I'll just make it back to 10. Okay, 2. Okay, now while repeats itself when this condition is true, right? But suppose I am giving the condition as true itself. Okay, I'm giving it as true itself, then what happens? It is just going on printing whatever was here. It is whatever is inside it, it just just going on doing that, right? It is because the condition itself we gave us true. There is nothing is happening to make change that condition, right? So that is why it is happening, and such loops are infinite loop. I showed another example of infinite loop over here, where the condition we were not updating the variable which is responsible for that conditional expression, and because of that infinite loop was created. But in the code, if you want to have an infinite loop, so in that case we can have while true. So while true means a condition is always true, and it will create an infinite loop over here. Now coming here, break. But you just cannot have an infinite loop all the time, right? Means it will exhaust the system resources, and it is not going to serve any purpose, right? So let us see an example where the users have to enter a number till the user is entering 0. So we don't know how much time this loop has to execute. Okay, we'll have to get an input from user and we'll have to print it till the time user enters 0. So let us see how it is done. While true, it's an infinite loop because we don't know how much time we'll have to execute it. We are asking the user to enter a number. Okay, enter a number over here. Then we are checking if num equal to 0. So what the number entered by user is equal to 0 or not. If it is user equal to 0, we are telling break. Okay. Else what we are doing, we are printing the number. Let us just execute this and see. So I entered 3, it is again asking me. I entered 4, it's asking me. I entered 1, it's asking me. I entered 17, it is asking me. I entered 45, it is asking me. Now I entered 0, stopped execution. Got it? So what that is what break does. Okay, so break, if we have a break statement, when a break statement is encountered, it just breaks out of the loop. So that is what happened here, right? We are getting a number, we are checking if the number is equal to 0. Only if the number is equal to 0 we are doing break, else we are printing that number. Okay, so break is a statement which helps us to break out of the loop depending on some conditions. So condition we can give by using if statement, and it just helps us to break out of the loop. Now this is another thing, continue. This is giving another flavor to while loop. Okay, we know how to print numbers from 1 to 20, right? Okay, how we'll print numbers from 1 to 20? So we'll initialize the variable as 1. While num less than or equal to 20, we'll print the number and we'll increment the number. Okay, so here, yes, we are printing the numbers from 1 to 20. But there is a condition. The requirement is that I want to print from 1 to 20, but I don't want to print multiples of 3. Okay, so I want to print everything, but not multiples of 3. So what can be done? Okay, so what we can do is we'll check whether the num, okay, is a multiple of 3. That we know how to do it. We'll check the modulus operator and we'll check for the condition whether remainder is equal to 0. Okay, if the remainder is equal to 0, what we will do, we'll give continue. We'll increment the number. We'll anyway have to increment the number because it has to go to the next iteration, right? So that we are doing, and then we are doing continue. Continue means it will skip these statements. Okay, so once a continue is encountered, it will skip the remaining statements and go to the beginning of the loop again. Okay, so what happens, I'll just, instead of 20, I'll make it 10. Okay, it will be easy for me to explain. So num starts with 1 if 1 less than or equal to 10. Okay, yes, it is less than. It will check if num is a multiple of 3. No, so it will print the num, then the num becomes 2. 2 is less than 10. Yes, true. 2 is a multiple of 3. No, so it prints 2, then it becomes 3. It will check whether 3 is less than 10. Yes. 3 is a multiple of 3. Yes. So it becomes 4, and then it is telling continue. Continue means it won't come here. So it won't print 3. Okay. It will directly go here. It becomes 4. It prints, increments 5, prints, increments 6. Again it's a multiple. It becomes 7, but continue. And because of continue statement, it doesn't go here. It will come back to loop again. Okay, so continue is used to skip some statements inside a loop depending on some condition. Break is used to break out from a loop depending on some condition. Okay, so today we covered while loop. While loop is used to repeat a set of statements or block of statements without writing it repeatedly. Infinite loop is when the condition remains true always and nothing is going to change it, then it becomes an infinite loop. Break is used to break out from a loop. We can give some condition in front of break, and depending on that we can break out from the loop. Continue is used to skip some statements inside the loop. We can give some condition, and depending on that we can choose to skip some statements inside the loop. That's all for today. Thank you all.